To hear what we have to say. Before I hand over to Ian and to Mark, I just want to make some comments. Please bear with me. I've made some notes so I don't miss anything. The All Blacks win at Ellis Park on Saturday was magnificent. And I'd like to acknowledge Ian, Sam and the entire All Blacks coaching and management team for the character and resolve they showed under pressure, and also for the way they represented their country. I would also like to clarify the board's approach to reviewing the All Blacks' performance to this point. Performance is an ongoing conversation, and at the beginning of the year we agreed with Ian that there would be a discussion at this time and a thorough debrief into how the team were tracking. This was always the plan and was critical at this juncture in terms of where we're at in the World Cup cycle. Doing this against the backdrop of the results and the media scrutiny overlain with people's employment being managed in real time, however, has been hugely challenging. Yesterday, Mark and Chris Landrum met with Ian to finalise conversations around where things sat after the first 5 tests of the year. Ian has provided management with his own recommendations, and these have in turn been recommended to the board, who have unanimously agreed they have absolute confidence that Ian and this coaching group are the right people to lead the All Blacks through to the World Cup. This has been privately and publicly validated by our players and in various conversations with our high-performance team. As we did following the Steinlager series, we've agreed to make some adjustments to the coaching structure, and as Ian will explain shortly, Joe Schmidt will take a new and expanded role. Joe has made a positive impact in the 2 weeks since he started working alongside Ian, and with Jason having similarly positive impact in South Africa in his 2 weeks in the role, we're very excited about the potential of this incredibly capable and experienced coaching trio going forward. I have to say, what has occurred over the last few weeks has been a manifestation of the passion for rugby, which we don't take for granted. But where the conversation has reached fever pitch, it has at times put unfair pressure on both Ian and Mark. I can sit here today and say with confidence that we've all attempted to do the right thing at the right time. Have we got everything right? Possibly not. But it's not through a lack of care or wanting to do the best for the game, our people and our fans. We will take any learnings with us. We know we need to hold ourselves to the same standards as we do our teams in black, but I want to absolutely emphasise going forward that both Ian as head coach and Mark as New Zealand Rugby chief executive have the board's absolute backing and support. Thank you. Ian.
Welcome everyone. Just for me, delighted to get the strong support from both Robbo and the board for us going forward. It's clearly been a difficult time. The start of this campaign is we didn't get what we wanted against Ireland, and that created a lot of performance stress. That's part of my job, and I expect to be grilled in that space. And so through the last month, we've had a number of conversations about how we can grow our organisation and make sure that we get the performance that we want on the park. We have made some changes, and we're continuing to keep evaluating our group to make sure we've got what we need going through to the World Cup, and really delighted with where we've got to, I guess, from today onwards. Just talk about the addition of Joe Schmidt. Joe Schmidt's been on my radar probably for a couple of years. We flagged at the start of this year that his role was to join us after the Irish series as an independent selector to replace Grant Fox, but in addition he was going to do some opposition analysis work and work alongside myself in the strategy area. We started that after the Irish series. Delighted with how that's going. Got a great relationship with Joe and how that works, and subsequently in conversations we've now decided to move him from the computer room and actually put him on the park a little bit more. And so on the park he's going to work alongside myself, and to a slightly lesser extent Stormy, in terms of having a bit of an impact on the park with the attack part of the game. So delighted with that, and as Stuart mentioned, delighted with the growth and the impact of Jason in addition to our group. So really feel confident about it. I guess it's a bit different for the All Blacks. We're a group that's gone through a little bit of change in the coaching area, but I think that's been reflective of us trying to chase the performance levels we want, and it's also reflective of a group of players that we're clearly making a few changes on the park too in terms of personnel and trying to get this group to the point that we have a really strong nucleus to go through to that World Cup. And I think you saw the last couple of weeks an introduction of a few newer players in that space. So for us it's an exciting period, and again just can't wait to get back into work and go down to Christchurch and get ready for the Argentinian travel challenge, I guess, that awaits us. So that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Foz. Thanks, Stuart. Kia ora, everyone, and welcome back to New Zealand Rugby. Look, I just want to reiterate some of Stuart's points at the start there. There's a few things that we could have done better in most recent weeks. But I don't think anyone can doubt the power of this organisation and team when we witness a result like we did in Johannesburg over the weekend. We talk a lot about inspiring and unifying in our place, and to be in that stadium of 62,000 people, a cauldron with everything against that team in terms of the spirit and atmosphere, and to see them fight the way they did was just something we're magnificently proud of. That, in conjunction with seeing some of the steps this team has made in most recent weeks, gives us a huge amount of confidence going forward. The debrief that we talked about at this stage has been set down for some time now. So despite speculation or anything else around media or elsewhere, this was always a short process we were going to work through at this time. We're very clear about that after the Irish series too. So although short, we've had the opportunity to talk with Foz, have some really fantastic conversations with him, both here and in South Africa, where we've spent time together. Our coaches right across the board within the environment, our high-performance staff, and also our senior players. And the one thing I'd say that is consistent through all of those conversations is just the utter desire and passion and commitment for this team to be the best it possibly can. At no time was there anything as part of those conversations that was anything apart from being the best this group could possibly be. So I guess the reality of the other situation we're facing is we're 2 weeks into this new setup of coaches. Jason has come on, I think, 18 days ago. We have Joe, who has been sitting in the background in his role in the computer room for 2 weeks, and is now being elevated into a role which we think will add amazing value to this environment. It's something that I know Foz is excited about and has been thinking about for a bit, and I know the players are hugely excited about as well. He is a world-class coach who has had unbelievable success in every environment he's been in. Humble man, him and Foz connect incredibly well, have deep respect for each other, and we believe he'll bring enormous value into our environments around the views he has of the Northern Hemisphere and international experience of 77 tests for Ireland and some amazing achievements through that time as well. So we're really excited to welcome Joe into our environment on a more full-time basis, and we're really pleased to be able to back Foz into leading this next stage and evolution of this team. There have been some challenges, but there's nothing I'm sure of now than where this team is placed, having been with them over the last 7 days, having sat through team meetings with them, having sat through leadership meetings with them. I must admit the game's changed a lot. 20 years ago when I was running around, there's some language now and some graphics and some angles I don't think I'd have been able to play because I wouldn't have known where to put my ankle or my knee or my body height or anything else. But yeah, but what I would say is that is a signal of the level of detail and commitment that this group has got, which is really heartening and not surprising, but it was just a reaffirmation, I guess, of the quality and desire of this team to be successful. I know that, the fans and media at different stages have been frustrated, potentially around over the last few weeks especially. But I hope you can all appreciate, we are doing our best all the time for the game in New Zealand, for our organisation and our people. We care deeply about our people, but we're managing at the same time a process where there is significant scrutiny and public interest. There are time zones, there are a whole lot of moving pieces in this area that we are constantly having to deal with. And sure, we might not agree everything right, but at no stage do we ever lose care for our people, despite some of the commentary going on. We never lost sight of the care for the game we have and the responsibility we have to making sure the All Blacks are the best possible team they can be, and ultimately where we want them to be is the best team in the world. So I think that's really important that people understand that. So in summary, I guess we feel the developments happening off the field with Foz's team, which we 100% support, and the developments and the changes we've seen coming into on the field performance and some of the tweaks Foz mentioned to earlier are something we're really excited about. We believe in this group, and we're backing them, through to the World Cup. We believe from board level, myself and the executive, our player group, which are absolutely critical here, are all riding behind this, and we can't wait to get going. We feel it is a new dawn for this team, even though there's obviously a lot of continuity in it, but there's some freshness and variety and change coming into it that will make a significant difference going forward. So that's all I want to say at this stage. I'm sure there are a few questions, so we'll pause there and take those, but thank you.
Ian, what are your overarching emotions at being retained?
Look, it's always I guess I remind people it's a privilege to be in this job, and it's never something you take for granted. It's never something that you plan on long term, I don't think, because I know it's always about performance and stuff. So, there's no doubt it's been a tough time, but it's I think hopefully you've seen in myself and the team the last couple of weeks is that we also know you just got to be in the here and now, and our goal is to work on performance and improvement. So I want to be a key catalyst of that, so I'm delighted to be here because I believe in the plan I got. I believe we've got great support behind us, and now we just want to set our sails and get stuck into work.
Ian, how have the last few weeks been for you, and how this whole situation has been, and what's the relationship like with your employers, because at times it appears as though you were hung out to dry?
Oh, I don't think I was hung out to dry. I think there's a whole lot of variables out there where some of it was pretty well self-inflicted because the team that I was coaching didn't get a couple of wins that we wanted, and so I fully accept that. So my mindset's in that space. The fact that there's am I going to have a job next week and all that sort of stuff. In some ways, Sav, that is part of the job. It's part of Robbo and Stu's job too, isn't it? To critique me and to make sure I am, and that's the accountability that I guess I demand of my players. And to be fair, it's been demanded of me. So I'd rather it wasn't there, but that's we live in the real world, and I'm under pressure to perform, so I don't mind that.
Mark, there's been reviews, seemingly constant reviews. Will there be more reviews between now and the World Cup, or will this team be left alone to get on with the job?
Well, there haven't been reviews, Sav. That's certainly the language coming back from everyone else that wants to talk about this situation. I guess we've well, there's been ongoing performance discussions constantly, and as I've said previously, it's part of any of our high performance environments, be they Sevens, be they Māori All Blacks, be they all of our teams in Blacks. That is just a reality of our environments and our search to be the best we possibly can be. So sure, there'll always be some interaction between Foz and his team and our teams around performance. We want to ultimately see them be the best they can, and part of that is understanding how we can support them. Part of that is to get deeper understanding of the detail of what they require at different times. And I don't think neither Foz or I want to shy away from the fact that we occasionally need to have conversations about how we can help and support and play our part in making them be better.
Mark, was it the Ellis Park result that helped clear up the picture for you and help Ian retain his job?
Oh, look, I think seeing the team over the last couple of weeks, seeing the immediate impact, some of the changes that have been led by Ian around coaching staff, and then his vision around some of the tweaks that he's looking to make go forward on and off the field have been significant when you put them in a combined sort of lens, I suppose. And the performance was an outstanding reflection of all the work that had gone on in a very quick time. You're talking 14 or 18 days with that new coaching group that we have real confidence in. And anyone that knows someone like Joe and knows the connection and respect that him and Ian have for each other, coming in with Jason at a new time, that's something to be really excited about, and we've got a lot of belief in.
The senior players were very vocal in their support for Ian. How much of an impact did their say have?
Oh, as I said earlier, they are certainly a critical partner in this. And I had the opportunity to spend time with them in South Africa, and they were great. Like conversations with Ian and other people in the environment, robust, honest, caring about what the team means for them and what they're committed to doing, and also a lot of personal ownership of some of the challenges we've had in recent times. No one is shying away from the fact, I think collectively, that we all have a part to play here. This does not sit solely with FOS, the organisation, the board, or the players. It is a combined approach, and we're all one team that are desperately trying to make us the best we can possibly be. So the players, if I could just finish, if the players, the players certainly feel they have a responsibility in that place, and they wanted to make sure we understood what their position was, and it was really heartening to hear that level of passion and commitment from them.
Do you think the top of the union has gone missing in the last few weeks? There seems to be a lot of toing and froing and indecision, and some people have described this as a shambles.
Yeah, well, lots of people have got lots of views on different things at the moment, Sav, and we deal with speculation all the time. And it's been a couple of years where we're dealing with some really unprecedented sort of issues just constantly. And it's difficult, isn't it? If you don't say things and you want to think of the best interests of the team and wait till they get out of the country, you're criticised for going missing in action. If you turn up and you do have something to say where you're not in a really strong position to say a lot of things, you get criticised for having to be in a position where you're not saying enough. So we are constantly trying to balance the need to be engaging and open and transparent, what we do want to be with our fans and the media and the public. And the reality is that we're dealing with a whole lot of different aspects of this situation, which, frankly, we can't share a lot and talk a lot about. And so sometimes we don't get everything right as a result of that. But it is not through a lack of commitment to want the best for the team and the organisation, as I've said. It's been a unique moment in time, a real hotspot, but we are drawing a line under that, now. We've made a really strong commitment and set out our stall around what we think is the best for this organisation and the team, and we're going to get in behind it.
How much does your role, Stuart's role, the board's role, come into question over the past few weeks and how everything has been handled?
Well, it's clearly come into question. We know that through media and public, that might be a question for Stu around, the executive. But we acknowledge we haven't got anything right. So I don't think we're hiding from that, Sav.
There could be a review into that then.
Well, I'll let someone else, probably someone else want to speak like that.
This week was always going to be the week when we caught up and had a debrief after the team got back from Africa. Clearly we weren't happy with those two losses to Ireland, and we signalled that. There's been changes made. There's been more changes made as a result of the decisions that you've now heard about. So we're looking forward. We're looking forward positively.
Stuart, there was Joe coming into the coaching group always part of your plan, or was that more a result or a reaction to the situation you were in?
Look, it's always been in the plan in some form, but the exact spot didn't really know, or the exact timing didn't really know, to be honest. But I've been talking to Joe for about 3 years, but there was he had very strong reasons to have a bit of a break and to not get back in the limelight, so kind of dragged him back in. But I'd like to thank Kelly, his wife, particularly, and he's had a long time in the helm, and he did want to come back and have a bit of a chat. But he's I think he loved his time with Leon in the Blues, and he got a taste for it. And I think the work that he's been doing behind the scenes for us has got him ready to do this. So, look, I'm delighted. He's there for the right reasons. He complements the group we've got, and whilst I assumed the attack portfolio in its entirety for the last few weeks, it was still good to have his input behind the scenes. But I think this is going to make the whole thing enable us to coach at a deeper level than even before. So, really, really delighted.
So, Mark, what are some of the things New Zealand Rugby has got wrong over the past 6 weeks or so?
Oh, I think aspects of the sequencing of how we interacted with media and the public was something that we could have done differently. Most clearly, we, as Stuart says, we had a very clear plan internally about when these discussions would take place for some time now. So there's been no surprises internally about those for us in terms of those conversations. But clearly some aspects of the interface with media and the public hasn't been as good as it could be.
After the Irish series, you said things weren't acceptable. One win and one loss in South Africa. Are things acceptable now?
Oh, I think we've seen, as I've just spent the last little period talking about, we've seen significant demonstration of growth and change in a short amount of time, which we were, always after. And Ian's been, really, really decisive around the way that he's viewed the performances against Ireland and identified the things that he believed needed to change in a short amount of time to improve. Sure, we want to win every game. There's no hiding from that. But as this team grows and develops and the pieces get put around it from a management point of view, we certainly think we're on an upwards trajectory.
Ian, you had a lot of backing from players in media, on social media. How much did that mean to you in the last few days?
I haven't got a social media account. Or the players think I've got a quiet one that they can't find. But and don't tell them I haven't got one. What does it mean? Look, it means a lot. But I think, we're a very tight group. And I guess one thing I'll explain is that I tell you who we've got the most support from the last month. It's from ex-All Blacks from the 2007, 2009 period, of players that have actually been through periods in the All Blacks where things haven't gone that well. And it's been fantastic, the support we've had from the older All Blacks who know what it's like to go through a bit of a trough, and when you're making changes and rebuilding a little bit. And so this group is, whilst there's been a lot of pressure from external, and it's been painted that this never happens to the All Blacks. It does happen to the All Blacks, and it has happened in the past. We've got massive support and advice from people who have walked through the same journey, and I think that's really empowered our current group, who haven't been used to the degree of adversity that we've hit. It's felt foreign, and so we've all wanted to roll our sleeves up and fix it, and so we're in it together. Their support's been fantastic, but I think whilst it looks like massive support for me, and I love that, I feel very privileged by that, but I think in reality it's massive support for what we're trying to create here.
Mark, as is always the case in this kind of situation, there's a lot of opinions. There's going to be a lot of fans potentially that don't agree with the decision. I guess what would your message be?
Oh, we understand the passion in this country for the sport. We've seen it spill out in a whole lot of forms in recent weeks, haven't we? Which, while challenging, is something I guess we have to acknowledge means there's a huge amount of interest in the game here. So, which we respect. But hopefully people, respect that we are constantly making decisions for the sport, be they in regard to the community game, be they involved with bringing on an investor such as Silver Lake. There are always things that are contentious in our game around what we're doing, and obviously around the All Blacks there's no greater visibility around our game than the All Blacks, so any decision that is made there attracts that same level of passion and scrutiny as well. But I think what we'd say is we have taken a really good hard look at the situation. We've listened to a number of different views very close to what is happening within the environment, and ultimately we've made the best decision and the right decision for the team going forward. Oh, we had a really cool catch up, Sav. So it wasn't heated at all. It was over a beer. and it was a really relaxed setting, really constructive, great contributions from them, some listening and some feedback. So not at all heated at all. It was one of real respect, and I see underlined by a deep desire to make sure this team just keeps getting better and is the best it can be.
There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about the possibility of Scott Robertson and Leon McDonald being on standby to take over this team before that Johannesburg match. Can you comment on those rumours?
No, I mean,
They're incorrect.
well, yeah. There are always conversations going on with our leading staff and key people right across the board, and so no.
Sam Kane said on Sunday in Johannesburg that he would be more than happy to give his view, if required, to the board as part of this process. Was Sam's view or any other senior players' views sought out as part of this process once you were back on the ground and talking with Ian?
Sorry, just repeat that, Ollie. You mean after
once you were back on the ground and you and Lendo were talking with Ian as part of this process, did you talk to Sam Kane or any senior All Blacks about Ian's position?
No, not after getting back from South Africa.
Do you think you should have?
We had pretty good feedback in South Africa, and honestly, we wanted them to get home and be with their families and spend time with them. So
we also had feedback from management to management, and David Kirk rang me yesterday and spoke to me as well. So pretty satisfied we had the feedback from the senior players.
You presented to the board, Mark, and did the board actually vote? Was there an actual vote?
I can tell you that the feedback was presented to the board, and with the changes that have been made and being made, it was a unanimous decision to support Fozzie and the team going forward.
Ian, you said after the game you didn't know if you'd be coaching next week. The next day you said you were expecting to be coaching. At what stage did you actually know that you would be coaching?
Well, probably this morning, really. Hey, look, I'm not sure why there's nothing to fudge here. Like, at the end of the day, we've had a pretty solid conversation about performance and about my role in that. So I've got no problems with that, because that happens in my business. So, like I said at the start, is that these are conversations that we should have and do have, and I understand the pressure on my role, and particularly, like I said, is that when you lose a series, that people hurt, and so my job is to put context about it, but it's also to make decisions on how I can improve that going forward. So I've done that, and that had to be critiqued. So now I'm pretty excited about going down to Christchurch and getting ready to play as a team.
When you said you didn't know, did you have a gut feeling that you'd be sitting here at the end of the week, being back for the rest of until the World Cup?
Oh, I don't. No, not really. I just look. It's not a job that you go in and you think, wow, I've got my next 3 or 4 years all sorted. You know, there's going to be obstacles in that, but what I'd like to think is that I want to try and reflect the values that I want my players to reflect, and we want our team to reflect, and our organisation to reflect. And so my goal is not to succumb to the pressure, but it's just to make sure I get ingrained in how we can improve it. And so that's what I've done, and then I'll leave the other decisions to people. And let's face it, I mean, Robbo and Stuart, their job is to make decisions like this.
In your opening statement, you said you made some personnel changes, including like the team players, not just coaches. Is there any sense in your mind that you might have been better off making some changes sooner in that regard?
Yeah, look, it's easy to look at selection in hindsight, isn't it? Some of the things we made were decisions we made in July were based on niggles and injuries, and we get a lot of players in a different state when they come in post Super Rugby, and that's always been like that. We've always struggled to get a lot of fluency in July series. We've had a couple of athletes, and I'll use Ethan, I'm sure he doesn't mind, but we felt he wasn't in the shape that he needed to be in, so we put programs around players like that. And so when they come back in and play well, I'm actually really satisfied with the decisions we made in that space, because we've got players now at the point that we've now got good competition. We've got some younger players who have put their hand up, and there might be a few more coming up, because we need to make sure that this team has got the energy and drive that it needs to go and win a World Cup, and that's what we want.
And is the decision something you
think you'll address with the players, and if so, what would you say to them about the decision for you to stay on moving forward?
No, I'm not sure what I'm going to do in terms of addressing the team. I'm pretty sure.
It's been obviously been a big issue, and now that you've got certainty and something
Yeah.
you want to.
Oh, look, there's no doubt there was a void there for the team, and teams don't like voids, and high performance environments don't like voids, but sometimes you go through a void, and so we got that. There's a bit of uncertainty, but what I love is that our job is to play through that, and we don't get excused for a poor performance just to say, we weren't quite sure about something. We just got to go and drive it. So, look, I'm immensely proud of not just the performance at Ellis Park the last 2 weeks, because I think they know there's been a bit of uncertainty, but they've said, stuff it, let's just roll our sleeves up and get better. And like we said, we've made some changes. We're working hard on the field to grow stuff, and again, we're in a good spot. But now we just got to keep going, proving that. So, what will I say on Sunday is, hi guys, I'm back. Let's get into it.
Ian, how strong is, now you've got the coaching staff in place and you've been retained, how strong is your belief that you can win the Rugby World Cup next year?
Oh, I think it's very strong. And, we've had to, the first 5 tests this year are always going to be immensely tough. I mean, it's not often we play 5 tests in a row against teams that are basically ranked higher than us in the world. If you think about it, that's the situation we got. So we got tested and we fell a bit short in a few areas. So, but what I'd like to reassure people is that we're not just sitting there justifying that. We're actually saying, okay, well, what have we learned from that? And I guess, I mean, I feel good about the confidence that I've got from Mark and Stuart in terms of supporting both myself and the group. I think we've got our leadership and our senior players at a point that probably as strong as I've seen them in recent years, and they want to own it, and that's a massive part of where we need to go. So they're pretty good foundation points.
Mark, what's the relationship like between the All Blacks unit, including the players, and NZR? Because outwardly looking at it seems the gulf is quite wide.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think it's speculated elsewhere, Sav. But like I say, having been on them been with them for the last week or 10 days with our president Max Spence, it's been great. We've spent a lot of time in different settings, be there in team sessions or more socially, and it's been really, really valuable time. I think I've said previously when asked a similar question, there's no doubt that through the most challenging situations around Silver Lake, clearly there were some issues, but that's been settled some time ago now. I know they're excited about the opportunity to be working both at a level around working with FOS in terms of growing their opportunities to perform and be on the global stage, and they're also taking an active interest in some of the other things we're doing around the game, be that with the likes of Silver Lake or in other initiatives we have, and they're great bunch of men who, as I said earlier, care about the game and have got a broad range of interests around the game as well, willing to contribute and support. So like I say, we're moving on really positively at the moment.
Yeah. You've got a test match in a week and a half. How nice to just be able to focus on that and coaching.
Won't it be great? I can't wait. It's it's like even like I've got Joe and Stormy and Straws are coming around tomorrow. We're going to start talking about the attack side of the game, and some of the defence stuff. So it's going to be nice getting back into rugby. But look, it's been a emotive few days, isn't it? And but how good is that? Because it's through all this we've seen a team respond, and I think really get excited about the direction we're going in. So I'm pretty ramped to be part of that. And so, how good is it going to be? I think it's fantastic. It's a rugby championship that, Argentina's done us a favour by beating Aussie. So if we actually do start talking about rugby soon, it's going to be awesome because we've got a championship that's pretty even at the moment, and we've got a big game.
It won't please everybody, but that's rugby in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. Hey, and I haven't got a problem with that, and I don't think people should have a problem if they see things different to what I do, because I don't always pick the team that everyone else picks, and I may not have all the right coaches that everyone else would like to have, but like I said, it's a privilege to be here. I take it. I have a lot of honour doing the job, but also a massive degree of accountability for it. And so all I can do is go away and get excited about the group that I've got and go and do it. And you know, chip away at maybe earning some respect from people who may have a different opinion about whether I should be here.
And you mentioned Joe's wife, thank you. Yeah. How's your family dealt with the debate over the past few weeks?
The debate seemed to be a bit more one-sided than a debate, but my family's great. Thank you for asking. They are. I'd have to say that you've probably lost a couple of viewers or readers, but that's life for you, I guess.
Well done last week, Posy. Just a question for you, Robbo. Where does Scott Robertson fit in this, I suppose, going forward? If you've elevated Schmidt to the coaching staff, does that mean Scotty Robertson's out of the mix going forward?
Oh, look, as I said earlier, we have a huge, regard for Razor. He's a key part of the coaching landscape in this country, and we hope he has a great future in the game here. But today, is not really about Razor. And today's about Ian and his team, launching into this new area with the new sort of support he has around them. So certainly, see a key and valued employee, Razor, but let's focus on today where this All Black team's starting to go and get him behind them.
And Fozzie, are you happy with everyone that you've got around you, like the Gilberts and the Shans? Is there any other changes that you're going to be making to the team?
Not at this stage, but I think it's right now we're a group that's been together a long time, a lot of those sort of people, and so we're always making sure that the motivation levels, performance levels are at the right thing, at the right point. So right now, no plans to make other changes in that space, but as I said, it's that sort of environment, isn't it?
Mark, when did it become clear in your mind that Ian would be getting this back in?
Oh, look, as we said earlier, we worked through a process relatively quickly, off the back of the weekend, and in constant contact with Stu and other directors, obviously, to get in a position where we felt we had comfort and real confidence, and certainly the continued changes and tweaks that Foz is making to us, especially his coaching staff, has certainly given us that.
If you had your time again, would you do that pressing you did on Sunday morning in Joburg? We couldn't really say anything.
Like I say, I think there's a few things we've done in recent times that might not have been the best decisions, But like I say, also people want to hear and understand what's going on, and they want engagement and access and openness. And then when you're in attempting to achieve that, and you're not in a position to be able to say a lot, then the flip side happens, and you criticise for that. So we're always learning.
Do you accept though that probably puts some fuel on the fire in terms of the uncertainty for these incumbents there?
I think in hindsight, hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? And as I say, we're responding, I guess, to a general demand to want to be more open, to want to be more transparent, and give as much as we possibly can at a time where people are curious and don't always make the right decisions. All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks very much.